I'm sorry, out of breath. I warn you right now, this is a video if you want to be outside the box, not let anyone put you in an age category of saying what you can or what you can't wear, definitely continue to watch. If you're one of those people where you're like, oh, you're a certain age, you can't wear certain things, not the video for you today.
I didn't know the love was war, then I saw you coming at me.
Once again, I am continuing to go outside my comfort zone, wearing things that I want to wear, things that make me comfortable, and a lot of them were inspired from magazines, particularly Vogue magazine. And so I had some of the things in my closet and I just sort of put them together based on the inspiration that I got out of these magazines. And so you may not say it's age appropriate, but here's what I say about that. Long as it's not hanging out, long as it's fitting the right size, then I say wear what you want, how you want, when you want, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't. So that's what this video is all about today. It is a quick lookbook of 5 different outfits that I got inspired from the magazines, but outfits that I want to wear as soon as I'm able to wear clothes and go out for the most part. And they're nothing fancy, it's just casual, fun stuff to wear. And you know what? I actually can just still wear it. Like today, I do have to do one quick errand. So I am going to wear what I actually have on. I'm going to stand up for you guys in a minute and show you. But even my hair, I have never worn my hair like this before, but I just got inspired. I'm like, okay, why not? You know, you could change up your look a little bit. So I am definitely outside of my comfort zone today, but I'm telling you, I am feeling comfortable, and I will give you the challenge also to try to wear something in a color combination that you have not done before. So without further delay, let's get into the lookbook. So here's the first one. I'm going to stand up and show you. So I have on my blue Vince linen top. I have on a sort of like an unstructured pants combination that I got from the store in New York City. I will link it below. And so I'm pairing it first with a pair of sandals, Valentino sandals that I've had for a long time, just to be something fun and casual. And then you can keep kind of changing your shoes if you want. I'm going to throw on a pair of my white Comme des Garçons white sneakers. And then to sort of add to that little comfortable casual look, I'll throw on my jean jacket. As you can see, when in doubt, you can never go wrong with the jean jacket. And here's the thing. I actually got inspired from this color combination from in the magazine. And here is the picture that I'll show you guys. So as you can see, she had on this sort of blue color with the khaki, and for the most part, I don't know why, I don't think I've ever really worn this combination before. So I've had these things, but I've never paired them together and thought about that combination. I just thought it looked so like fresh and clean and perfect for right now. So that's what I got inspired in putting these 2 colors together, and I'm actually going to do it more. I don't know why, but I just never did. So yeah, so that's where I got inspired, was from this particular shot from the magazine. And then the last combination I'll just throw on some leopard little sandals that I've had too, just to sort of elevate the look. And if I want to just kind of like step it up a notch and take it from totally casual to kicking up a little notch by wearing another type of sandal, I just threw on these little leopard slides. And so that is my first lookbook. Now, let's go on to the second one. The second one I'm going to share with you is from this particular shot from the magazine. And from the shot, it is that she has on it looks like a long dress. And when I look at this, I'm like, wow, okay, wait a minute. You don't have a dress like that with a deep plunge, but you have a jumpsuit. Black, swingy, that's just like this for the spring and the summer. And you have the Gucci slides. Another outfit post-quarantine when I want to wear something over the next month that I could definitely wear this. And I just had on a white, obviously, tank underneath where she has nothing. So this would definitely be outside of my comfort zone of not wearing this. But obviously, I'm sure it was just for the magazines why she didn't have any type of t-shirt on underneath. So that is look number 2. Onward to look number 3. Look number 3 is I'm really loving the whole utilitarian look that you see in the magazines. And so as you can see, you know, they're wearing like the combat boots and shorts and a long jacket if you want, a short jacket with the shorts. I absolutely love that look. And I'm actually eyeing those shorts. I really want those shorts a lot. I just don't want to pay the price right now. So that's why I haven't gotten them. But in the meantime, I thought, okay, you already have a pair of utilitarian boots like that. You don't have to buy anymore. And so what I did was I went in my closet, got a short combination from actually the same store that I had gotten these pants from. And as you can see, it is a similar version to like an MC Hammer pants. You guys have seen this outfit before. And I just kept on the same white tank top. And then I have like a swingy vest, cotton vest to kind of go with it to keep it casual if I need a little bit of warmth and want to like layer it. And then as you can see, I threw on my black boots that I've been wearing in the fall that I can definitely transition and still wear in the spring. And I think that outfit is perfect for right now. So I'm even going to rock it. If I have to go out again next week to an essential store, there's no reason why I can't wear this look. Yes, I will have on my mask, but I still can just rock that without just wearing my regular sweatsuit, because it really is just a sweatshirt or sweatsuit, sweatshirt fabric. It's just more of a kicking up a notch in regards to the design of it. So yeah, so that was look number 3. Now I am going to switch to look number 4. Wait, hold on. Let me go get I'm missing one thing for you. Hold on. I wanted to grab one thing for you guys, but before I go on to my next lookbook, I forgot that 2 things I wanted to share with you. Remember, I am giving away the glass bowl storage set that I was talking about on my last week's video. And so I was going to pick a winner. I actually picked the winner on my live chat on Sunday at 3 o'clock. So don't forget, definitely tune into me, journeyWithJackie_ Sundays at 3. But I will not be doing it this Sunday because it is Mother's Day. So I'm just going to lay low, let everybody enjoy their time doing Zooms and all those things while they're connecting with their loved ones. And then Chandler and I will reconvene the following Sunday, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys then. But anyway, I end up choosing the winner for the storage container live at 3 o'clock on Sunday. And so I had everything in the bowl here. And what I did was just randomly picked, and the name that I picked was, if you haven't seen it, it was Juju ZD was the winner for the storage bowl set. So definitely send me a message below, and so I can send you your gift set. I can't wait. I'm hoping you love it as much as I do. Now back to the lookbook, as we're completing our looks post-quarantine. And so what I did was, from my next look, I got inspired from this particular shot. And I actually saw this shirt come up on eBay. So that's where this picture is from. And they had, as you guys are already going to figure out, it was definitely, this is like definitely my vibe. With the long tunic, white t-shirt, jeans, love, 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 love. And my favorite, long tunics with the Chinese collar. And it was nice and long and cotton. So I actually ordered it. And for the price, I definitely recommend this. They only have a few colors left now. It came in a red and white, the green and white, the black and white, and the blue and white. And I will tell you, I actually got an extra large because you guys know I love things nice and long. So I would definitely probably go up a size in this one just to sort of make sure that the sleeves are long enough for you and the length and everything is what you want it to be. So just go up one size to be, is my suggestion. But I love this. So this is what inspired me for my next look. And so what I decided to do was go in my closet and pair some looks for you with things that I already had. So the first one, as you can see, is my yellow and white long tunic, which I paired with my little Hermes slides and my little brown belt kit. So that was one version look. And then my second version, as you can see, is another white long tunic that I have, but I rocked it with my little ankle boots that I'm going to be wearing. And last look came from inspiration from this particular shot from the magazine, and it was these beautiful green leather shorts with the deep V green. Remember my video when I was telling you guys about that green little sweatshirt that I got from Target, and I said stay tuned because I'm going to include it in my lookbook and why I chose this. So this is the reason why I chose that sweatshirt. So I didn't want to spend the money for a long deep V, but I wanted that vibe. And so I thought I already have the green leather skirt, so I just didn't have a pretty vibrant green sweater. So that's why I got the Target one. And so that helped me complete the look with this combination of the skirt, the sweatshirt, and then I can just rock it with some little sandals if I want. Can never go wrong once again with the Gucci slides. Or I can just put on a pair of sneakers and call it a day. So that is my lookbook. And if you don't miss, if you haven't seen my video of my favorite summer perfumes, you definitely got to watch that one. And then over here, I'll put my favorite sunglasses that I just did the other day. And the reason why I choose certain brands and certain styles and certain looks. And the reason why I chose those sunglasses too, because no matter what your face shape, size is, they're the perfect sunglasses that really, I think, are great for everybody. Because I've definitely, you guys, I've had my challenges of trying to find the right sunglasses to fit my face. And so these styles and brands have definitely proven to be much easier for me to find sunglasses to fit me. I confessed something to you guys in my video, so you're going to be hearing me say it more often now, but I opened up my heart and shared with you a desire of my heart, and that is I would love to reach by my birthday in June the 5,000 subscribers, and that is my birthday wish for June of this year. So anyway, if you guys can help me do that, I would really appreciate it. I love you. I thank you for all of the comments, and definitely if you have any ideas for me for future videos and things that I could be sharing and talking more about, definitely shoot me a message. But I thank you for watching and being open-minded to my new do for the day, as well as the lookbook, and forgetting about the age thing and wear what you want when you want to wear it. As long as you feel good, it puts a smile on your face, do it. See you guys in a few days. I love you. Bye-bye.